Hi folks, and welcome to the Buttermilk Biscuit. I am Ashelade, and I'm here to hang out, mediate, and run and hide when you move weird on this 2-hour train ride through the twilight. Behind me is Erica and her powerful arms that I've given up fighting against. Here on the Buttermilk Biscuit, TBB, or Tabubba for short, all of my favorite goofballs, you, can connect and create in a mostly harmless, low-key environment as a home away from home. Take this time aboard as a chance to write that novel you've been sitting on, color in that coloring book, empty that litter box, or just take a well-deserved moment for yourself. There is no pressure to be perfect. This is just an opportunity to find energy in the company of like-minded cats, ducks, and monsters, and to share in our progress. There are a few open seats next to me that are available to subscribers of the channel with the command claim seat. Go ahead and show that off real quick. I am a slime, and then with the avatar command, there is a list of little characters that you can show up as. Nope, I'm breaking it. Avatar list, my bad. I do know my own stream. But yeah, there's a lot of different little characters you can show up as. Big fan of Bungo. Treat it like a Pokemon where it just says its own name over and over. And they're all animated when you talk. So I'm going to run the help command, and that'll show how those work. just use those without the quotation marks around them to grab a seat. You don't have to, but it's cool. It's fun having folks on screen and then their messages popping up. But again, no pressure. This is just a chill hangout stream. I'm gonna pop out and make sure that those are available. Usually what we do here is some sort of, people can work on creative projects and then we share them at the end. I have a special place that we share those. But otherwise, it's just a cool place to hang out. I say cool, it's very chill. It's very low-key. Yeah, so... Sorry, my brain's catching up a little bit today. Oh, yeah, the Roomba's loud. Hold on. Gotta wait for this thing to go by. Thank you for your service, Roomba. But yeah, so today the theme is going to be, if you need something to kind of bounce off of, if you're not sure, if you want to work on something, the theme for the day is, where does passion come from? This was raised on Friday, or no, it was raised on Saturday by Aubrey, a stream regular. And I thought it was a pretty good topic to consider. Where does your passion come from, or where does passion come from in general? Is it things that you care about? Is it a drive of some sort, a drive to do something incredible, big? You want something that will be remembered, bigger than yourself. It could be working on characters that have a lot of drive, and where do they get their passion? Maybe doing some background writing for a character. There are a lot, like a shockingly large number of different topics that you could kind of extrapolate from this. Where does your own passion come from? It could even be taking things in your life and figuring out, how do I make this a more impactful part of my life? Does this drive passion? Does this drive, my creative interest? Does this drive what I want out of my life on a day-to-day basis in the way that I want it to? And if not, how can I change that? For me, I am doing a lot of work around getting back out into the world, trying to reorganize clothes to make sure that they are things that I feel comfortable and excited to wear, to go out and be around people again a little bit more often. Instead of feeling like I have to dig through clothes to find things that I feel comfortable with, just finding ways to get back into that center of passion, because I do like fashion a lot, and I'm just feeling very uninspired by a lot of the clothing that I can choose from. And so there's that, organizing clothes. That could be related to the topic for the day. Other than that, I'm also thinking a lot about, why do I do art? What do I like about doing with art? What drives me to want to make more things? How do I connect with more people to do that with? I think it's very interesting. It's a lot of questions that I didn't think about the specifics of throughout a large chunk of my life, and now I am confronting and thinking, what are my goals? I transitioned socially. I am a trans woman. Transitioned socially about 6.5 years ago. Or maybe, yeah, just a little over 6 years ago, actually, now. And that was an entire adventure on what do I actually want out of my life, and it opened up a lot of avenues on like, oh, well, I've always wanted to do this, and I've been too scared. And I find that to this day, I constantly am realizing new avenues that I've been scared of for one reason or another. Maybe it seemed insurmountable. And sometimes the wall is enormous, but it doesn't mean that it's insurmountable. And finding ways to like get grips on that wall to start climbing it, really important, and it's really powerful. So feel free to share what you're working on. I'm going to be, I think I'm going to be doing some organization around the house, and I'm also doing a lot of animation for the train, getting all the little avatars, the little guys, to have idle animations, and kind of like boil the lines on their animations so that they wiggle around. And add a little bit more movement to the train and keep it cohesive and interesting. So yeah, as per usual, these are pretty low key streams. So I'm gonna get to work, and I will touch base occasionally. Trying to figure out who I want to do fan art of next. It's Sakura from Street Fighter, beating the crap out of Akuma. I want to do Elena, coming up soon. think I'm gonna work on the idle animations. Hopefully that doesn't affect the way that the train runs. It's a pretty low CPU usage program. I use Moho Pro, 12.5. Doesn't seem like it uses the entire CPU or GPU. Hopefully that should run okay. I will keep an eye on the frame rate, see if anything drops, but hopefully it should be okay. There's a lot of work to go into getting these avatars set up. Real quick, I have exported some, with just like a flat white background. It's a little bit of extra work to make them transparent, but I want to see what they look like on screen, even if they're kind of weird right now. Okay. A little bit bigger than this. Hello. The timing on that's not great. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is Doofer moving around. Very cute. Looking good, Doof. I also have Bitey set up like this, but I think Bitey is going to need a blink. I did some boil on the lines. There's 3 different frames of the body being redrawn. Yeah, he needs a blink. Looks a little strange without it. Alright, so sharing some examples of the idle animations I've done so far in the Discord. Realizing that the cold, hard stare of Bitey without a blink animation is pretty strange. What else can I get done? There's so much housekeeping that I need to get done just for doing the streams. Make a command for the conductor. I'm actually going to post here. I think actually having the theme of the day on screen might be helpful. So, the theme of the day. Out here. pop up as I type it. Oh my god, it's so huge. Yeah, just a casual theme of the day, taking up like a third of the screen. Theme of the day is, where does passion come from? Good lord. How small can I get this thing? I put it in Comic Sans too. Center it here. And then change the font so that my centering gets thrown off. See, I'm doing this in a great order. I don't think cats are especially well known for their sophisticated, type placement. Earthbound font. Make it completely unreadable. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to do some sort of outline. Actually, let me see. Yeah, there's some Comic Sans. Looking beautiful. Go hard in on it. I think that's enough of an outline. It's still hard to read. Beautiful. So elegantly done. Okay, see if this works. Hey, how's it going? So, yeah, I say them at the beginning, but uh, I think maybe actually having it on screen, so if people don't come in at the very, very beginning, they can actually see them. I think that would probably be helpful. Or if someone like finishes a project early on and they're like, "Oh, what do I want to work on next?" They can just look over and have the prompt there. So yeah, um, I am currently thinking that over and trying to figure out, what do I want? What am I passionate about? How do I achieve some of my goals? For me personally, I've been trying to figure out how to, you know, um, get back into getting dressed up more and stuff like that. So it's like reorganizing my clothes. My passion comes from loving being able to make outfits, and so if I don't feel like I can quickly do that, you don't need to apologize at all. I'm only saying it for clarification, not any level of judgment. Like I totally get it. I'm a person that like at the end of the stream I forget everything that we talked about. I forget what happened on Saturday. Like I streamed on Saturday and I'm like, what did we even talk about? Your passion comes from the cosmic source. Wow, Rally. So deep. I think your passion comes from Sonic Council, actually. Yeah, my passion is a mess. And I think that's actually pretty accurate in general. Passion is kind of a messy thing. Roomba? Do we get made? Nope. That's the second time that the Roomba's shown up and the maid did not pop out. So, that sounds great, Raleigh. And yeah, I'm amused at the fact that I have put something in here that deliberately covers up me when I'm talking. So I have to shut up while it's coming. I was doing the opening speech, the opening little scripting, and I was like, well, okay, I was gonna explain how to sit in seats, but I have to stop now. Uh, yeah, the maid is fickle. So let me test. I just set up a timer for this. Okay, cool. So every 15 minutes or so, it should share the Discord link. I just want to make sure that if people hop in, I'm not like awkwardly saying, uh, I see that there's another viewer. I don't. I hate the feeling of being called out, so I'd much rather have it on a timer. I think a lot of people would just like to lurk, and so super awkward. Yeah, I've got the conductor set up. I set up a separate little account so that he can send messages. Oh, yeah, Rally, you were going to destroy people. Go get food, destroy their eyes and their brains from the sheer shock of eggs. Go for a walk. Big Bungo fan. Massive Bungo fan. What ghost? I am trying to personally split the difference between, like, how do I use my creative, like, drawing and making music and animating and doing all kinds of stuff. How do I use that to try to make some sort of living, or and also like how do I not stress myself the hell out and like put too much pressure on anything. So that's been an interesting adventure in where does passion come from. I'm like, okay, could I make stickers? I think I make really cute little objects and little. Oh, sorry, Erica. God, she gets so pissed off when I talk about this. Can I make stickers at home? What are the costs of making stickers? Can I ship to people? How do I get people interested in this stuff? I don't know. Finding passion in doing creative things is not hard for me, but finding a way to be able to maintain doing it is certainly a difficult thing. I can't imagine any artist in the world has ever experienced that sort of problem. But yeah, Riley, if you can clarify, I don't really know what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I think checking it is really important. When I was really actively doing animations, like the full, the full length animations on here, um, it started with me just fully enjoying the process, and then as it continued, I started putting myself on a very strict schedule. I was like, I want to get one put out every 3 weeks, and anyone who knows anything about animation knows that it is a massive amount of work and effort. And I wasn't just going for like simple things like Poultry Pals is pretty simple by comparison. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do like the dream animation. Dreams are dumb. And I was like, I'm gonna do this in like 3 weeks, and it was just like an incredibly intense amount of work. To the degree that I kind of started to hurt my neck from drawing so much and working on it so much that I'm like, okay, this is hitting a point where I'm like trying to find some level of success with it rather than still enjoying the process and like finding ways to find a balance. And so, where does passion come from? What is the drive for doing things? What is, what's most important in that process? You know, obviously people connect the most with things that they can tell that you. Oh, it's already been okay. Well, thank you, conductor. It's already been 30 minutes. I did not realize. So over here sipping on coffee and talking my ass off. And here we go. Here's we can talk about our lack of attention span. I'm like, what was I talking about? I'm interrupted by my own stream for about 15 seconds and I forget. But yeah, people, myself included, enjoy works of passion or works that are made by people that love what they're doing. Most of all, and if you start to separate that out, at least for me, I have a really hard time doing things that I'm not like completely passionate about, and that's really hard. It's really hard to like maintain that level of drive and enthusiasm for something. I keep coming up with new animation projects, and it's hard for me to sit down and just like slam down for dozens upon dozens of hours to get something like that done again. Whereas for the biscuit, I can work on an animation for a few hours and then implement it, and that's really nice. Like, it's a stomachable amount of passion. Yeah, are you gonna paint, or are you gonna paint the miniatures? 'Cause I know you were almost done with those. And also, I'm very excited to see that. Are you switching over from the manga over to talking about the game, or? Yeah, I think like a lot of neurodivergent people, I am I'm a person with like hyperfixations. So I swap from like things that I get really focused on, and so it's hard for me to do things that are not bite size, unless I'm like really deep in that mode. And so the buttermilk biscuit I love doing, and I want to improve it, and it's easy to like make improvements that are small and manageable and bite sized without having to sit there for 2 weeks straight working on a single project. I have to be in such an obsessive mood to do a full animation. Yeah, Riley's been working on some space dwarves from Warhammer 40K. It's like a new faction. Hey, Ozzy. Thanks for the input on Bitey. It's difficult. It's difficult adjusting all these little avatars and trying to like find, okay, what do I like about the still picture of them, and how do I implement that into the idle pose. Yeah, line boil is good. Originally I had the line boil going like super fast, and I was like, this looks insane. I think it was going like 3 times as fast as it is in the examples that I showed. So I think the slow line boil is a good look. Blinking is pretty important. I had Bitey without blinking, as you can see there, and it just... I think if there's no movement on the inside of the outline, with a boil, it can look a little strange, and so the blink kind of adds a little bit of just some movement to make it look a little bit less jarring. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to make a little blink. Bitey might be able to blink out of sync. I was originally gonna have Doofer blink out of sync, and then I realized that I didn't draw that. I didn't do that. But Bitey does seem like a good candidate for that. Just this deranged little creature, little stubby legs and arms. I will separate the drool out. I think that'll also make it easier to mix up the animation, because the animations I think are going for like 4-second idles, and then I'm also going to, in the process, update the talking animations to be 2 seconds instead of 1 second. Yeah, I feel like Bitey is probably huggable, or would be huggable, if not for just the gaping maw of a mouth. But Bitey looks very soft. Hello. Oh, cool. Yeah, Bitey is pretty plushy coated. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to... Yeah, the little duck that looks at the screen is probably one of my favorite additions. I have to strike this balance, and let me know what y'all think about it. Where I want to have like some level of movement on the screen, but I don't want it to be so debilitatingly distracting that it's hard to actually do stuff like draw while the stream's open. I think line boil, like a slow line boil on the characters, is good. I don't know if maybe like the outside of the train, like we should be moving a little bit faster. Yeah, the background should go by faster. But stuff like having the duck come up front, I feel like is a nice sense of giving the space some movement and presence. And especially not doing it too often. Okay, thanks, Ozzy. It's a little hard for me to figure out sometimes, being like just someone that's in it all the time. Yeah, Blahaj is so cute. Maybe that's the reason I learned how to sew, is just so that Is it pronounced Blohai? I think I've only read it for so long. Yeah, there's something about this image that I feel like it's super static. I also want to redo the cat animations and then also add in a little tail swish. Oh, that's awesome. Rally is a massive plush fan. And it's only been recently, since talking to Riley a lot, that I start looking at all these little plushes. And I'm like, it would be cute to have this character as a plush. I think I get it. I mean, I have a lot of little, like, cute toys and stuff, like a stuffed manatee. Got like a dozen of them sitting around or in my bed, but I usually go for animals. Yeah. Yeah, that's punk as fuck. You know, it's super hardcore. My two absolute favorite animals are manatees and ducks. I can look around my room and just see little pieces of evidence of both. Yeah, birds are so cute. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely hurts. Yeah, having a duck plush makes me an anti-fascist. I mean, in a you know, it sounds goofy to say that, but in a sense, it actually is, especially in the U.S. Like, uh, they're so demanding on how people need to be. Like, the idea of being anything other than what they prescribe you to be is like travesty in their eyes, and I would rather be a travesty. I was like, if this studio started burning, what if I could only grab one thing out of the studio as it burned? It would not be my computer, although if I could pick a second thing, it definitely would be. But the first thing would be my damn manatee plush that I've had for like 20 years now. Monty Montgomery Manatee. The boy's been with me through some hard times. I've never seen that. I'm aware of it for sure, but yeah, but it's spelled like that. Monty, Monty, like as if you said manatee way too quickly. Monty, Monty, Monty Montgomery Manatee. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, that's nice. Uh, so I'm curious, Hertz, have you had any like personal projects you've been working on recently? I know you were working in Blender. You've been working in like making games and stuff. I don't feel like I've checked in on that in a while. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Zero consistency, and I'm thriving. Doing so many different projects. I was like listening to a song, what was it, yesterday or the day before, and I was like, oh man, it's been a while since I worked on music. And I started thinking about my EP, and I was like, what if I tried to write another one? Oh my god. The amount of time that goes into that. I had way too many interests. So, little dice bags out of old flannel shirts. I'd love to see that. That's really cool. Oh, and on cue, you posted it. Thank you. That's awesome. That's really cute. I like that a lot. Yeah, flannel seems like a really good material for that. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, there's like 1,000 things to do and so little time to do it in. I was talking about earlier, I've been looking into like how do I make stickers at home? Like, is that the most cost-efficient way that I could do it? Seems really fun to like, especially make duck-related stickers. On cue, a duck walks by. Quit ducking around. Duck off. The fact that duck rhymes with fuck is probably one of the best things. And for a long time, you know, like iOS would autocorrect fucking to duckin'. And I'd be like, ah, I gotta correct it every time. And now I just think, I think that's actually for the best. I think I prefer duckin'. Yeah, I mean, so many hobbies are so expensive. But I like having like reusable things like digital art I can just do over and over and over without having to buy new products or things. Yeah, I'm a little torn, Ozzy. I've worked on like several pieces in a row, and so I'm like, do I feel like diving into another one just yet, or do I have other projects I want to work on? So, trying to work on these animations for a bit. Gotta try to actually finish one little project, but the allure of so many different things is pressing into my brain. We go back to my to-do list for the stream. Hello, Roomba. We getting made? Oh my god. No made today so far. Thanks, Ozzy. Oh, that sounds about right. Also, I would love to see that, Ozzy. That sounds very, like a very cute thing to do. But I totally get it if you're not up for starting a new piece today. I feel like I have to be in such a specific mood. Yeah, I know too many people that can relate to that. Oh yeah, yeah. I've gotten pretty far in a piece before I just have to sit there and just think there are like foundational problems with this where I know they would just be better to start from scratch. I've definitely had that with animations. I had a big part of an animation blocked out, storyboarded, and like I had done several scenes on it, and I just realized this is just not a good premise for an animation. It's just not interesting, and I don't feel like finding out the ways to change this to make it interesting. So that just kind of went in a box, never going anywhere. Yeah, thumbnails are something that I do storyboarding and it's usually kind of like loose thumbnailing, but I would like to get better at thumbnailing bigger scenes and pictures. I'm just kind of slow at figuring out what I want out of a scene. Like I'll have kind of a gist, but it still changes a lot over time. Yeah, Lavender Town's great. I feel like I watched that one too. I don't remember which one it was. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. I've gotten much better about doing it. You know, like the Team Rocket picture, I kind of figured out the placement of everything, and then started to work on it. But then, so many other things, I just kind of stumble into the composition, and it comes out a lot weaker for it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think she's necessarily a consistent person to watch, but I have some. I mean, I like her art, and I think there is some value to pull out of it sometimes. So I think mixed feelings is probably a pretty accurate way to describe my own approach. But I do like her art. Looking through stuff on my iPad to work on, and I'm reminded of the Goose Gotcha. I have been making different little items. Did a quick animation that just cycles through them. Look at these little guys. So many good items to get. Variety of ducks. horse wheel. I was reminded of it because of the horse objects I had done for that animation that I scrapped a long time back. I was looking at the pictures of it and I was like, I like these horse items. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, part of it's just stuff that's from stream, and then stuff that just kind of enters my head. Big duck, little duck, nerd duck. There's Glad Ias, which is the little sword. Got a little face on it. Very happy little face on it. Did I show? I showed the goose gotcha, right? Let me pull it up. So, I'd had this idea a while back, and I'm pretty sure I shared this on one stream at some point. But that riding the train, you would get tokens, and you could spend them at the end to... Hey, Goblin, what's going on? Spend the tokens to, like, roll on the goose gotcha. And so it's a goose that's laying eggs, and the eggs pop out, and you get a different item. So this little guy's sitting on top and wobbly and laying eggs, and they would pop out toward the bottom there, and it would be these different items that you would randomly get out of it. Oh, thank you, duck. And so these were like different items that you could get out of it. I was starting to make more of them. Just for something fun to happen, you know, as a reward for being such a hard worker. I'm trying to think of other ways to, like, interact with the stream. Yeah, it very much looks like Long Honk. Long Honk is so cute. That was not necessarily on purpose, but I know I can see the resemblance. Absolutely. How have you been, Goblin? Oh, Barbo is a fun name. Oh, awesome. Oh, thank you, conductor. Yeah, it seems like it's been a good day for people kind of like getting fashion-related stuff. Bob just got some new shoes. They're going for a massage. I'm reorganizing my clothes so that I can get dressed more often. I say dressed, like I put on clothes daily. It's just, you know, actually like getting dressed up. Oh, that's cute. I love kobolds. I love kobolds, I love goblins. I like just the little short goofy races in fantasies. Not just goofy. Like I'm less keen on like gnomes. I like dwarves a lot, but gnomes were never really my thing. It's just like the little mischievous gremlins and goblins and stuff. I think they're great. Show up. Why is it showing the light? Weird. You're at it again. I saw you post your work in progress, so I'm excited. Oh yeah, it's really nice when you know, when you can like feel out what a character would actually be doing with their body. Um, I'm not going to act like an expert in this, but making that picture with Jam and Erica, I was like, well, I know exactly, like, Jam would have some attitude. Legs would be posed outward, you know, like there's more of an immediate draw into like what she would look like. Not shy, kind of aggressive. That was very helpful. Erica is like way more subdued, so it was kind of harder to figure out what to do with her. Oh, nice, thank you. Take a look. Oh, cute little friends. Oh, they're so cute. Oh, I love them. Thanks for sharing. Cabo the kobold, Fox the baby cob, Barbo the cobarian, and Weapon friend. I might be a little bit less responsive just for a few minutes. I'm going to start doing that clothing organization that I talked about, so that I can get kind of back on track with the making fashion choices again. We'll keep checking in though. No maid? Again? Oh, that's a good question. I'm trying to think. I'm not like super up on men's fashion for the most part. That was actually one reason why I was super happy to transition. I do think it's kind of cool when like trans men are so. I say trans men, just uh, masculine presenting trans folks are like super comfortable with their own gender, and like they also still push outside of the gender binary in those senses, and like wear a skirt or something. I think that's super cool. Um, but trans boy, I don't think of boys as necessarily being the most fashionable. So my brain immediately just goes to like a t-shirt and jeans, which is not super interesting for like a character design standpoint. Yeah, no, I love that kind of stuff. I like seeing um I like seeing people pushing the gender norms and expectations, whether they decide to go into the gender binary or not. I think it's something that's like super valuable to push against too. Like a super casual skirt, but definitely not something like pleated, because that still has some very specific associations. I mean, my fashion presenting masculine for a big chunk of my life was a baggy t-shirt and loose-fitting jeans, and that was it. Like that was, I think after a certain point, I started to trying to dress better to like impress girls that I was attracted to, and that turned into like an open button-up shirt, a t-shirt, and like bootcut jeans and boots, and that was the peak of my presentation. If anybody has better input than I do, and I'm sure that somebody here does, feel free to share it because I am kind of curious. I never draw men. I don't think a lot about men's fashion. I think there is a lot of room for it to be interesting, but like the normal expectations for men's fashion, I find to be pretty boring. So I'm curious if anybody has ways to like, yeah. Yeah, the way that I used to call that kind of shirt for me in particular is that I would wear like extra large, but I could have fit like a medium at the time, and I call it semi affectionately now garbage bag shirts because I would just get completely lost in it. But if you think about gender dysphoria, I don't think it's very shocking to think about that. Wanting to get lost in clothing and like not actually have to show off my physical body. Yeah, I mean, dysphoria hoodie. I hate to, just go with kind of the expected thing there, but like I see people even post transition that will wear loose hoodies on a regular basis. Like it's just comfortable. I still do it sometimes, depending on how comfortable I am and whatever environment I'm in. It's pretty flexible in that regard. If I don't know if I can trust the people that I'm going to be around, and I don't really feel like dealing with it, and I haven't put on like a bunch of makeup and gone full in on presentation, sometimes I do just want to turn into a loose representation of a human being. Sorry, I muted myself before I did it. I'm gonna run to pee real quick. I'll be right back. And back. A lot of the time my passion comes from genuine excitement over a project. Sometimes it comes off from anger though. Yeah. Sometimes a lot of my like push for change in my life is just like deep frustration or anger about the way that something is. I think that anger can be a really powerful motivator for change, and a lot of passion can come through that. Like, uh, I've been kind of sad. I'm like, I don't feel like I'm presenting as often, presenting as myself as often when I go outside. I kind of rely on boy moding in a lot of situations, and being realistic, I'm in Texas, in the U.S., and it's not like the greatest place to be as a trans person. Um, but I've started to feel very spiteful lately, as a label like I'm doing this because of. Oh, excuse me. Okay, further interruption. Oh my god. Again, no maid. It is the Aussie presence. But yeah, like I hate bullies. I hate yeah. Yeah, two in one go. Uh I've always hated bullies. I've always tried to stand up to them when I was growing up. I find it very frustrating to like have to live by their standards and their rules, and that was a big part of my original transition, was like fighting against those fears and like falling back into those fears because really shitty conservative movements have taken over large portions of the US. I am legitimately like nervous, but I also am not going to disappear again. I'm not going to disappear back into myself, and so it's like a lot of that spite and anger is informing my decision to like, no, I'm going to get my clothes organized. I'm going to start being out. I'm going to start existing again. Trying to do it in a safe way, but like, fuck this. I'm not going to live by the standards of some dumbasses that like refuse to accept that like there's a world outside of themselves. Like, so yeah, there is definitely anger involved in passion sometimes. Sometimes it can be such a great agent for change, as long as it's channeled and like actually productive, not just anger for anger's sake. But yeah, thanks for sharing. I find I in the future I'm definitely going to write the theme of the day on the screen, because I appreciate having input like that. It's really nice to get different people's viewpoints. Um, and again, I totally feel you on just the genuine excitement over a project. I think that's something that a lot of people here share. Is just I get so pumped about one thing or another, and I just wholeheartedly slam myself into it. And that is my favorite state of being, is being excited about a project and like just destroying myself in the process of pursuing it. Like a hyperfixation of any kind. But I really love, like, working on the train. It took so long to get all the different pieces together and to troubleshoot and to figure out how things would work. But I was so passionate about it that it was, I maintained it over a long course of time, and it was so exciting to know that, like, I was going to make something bigger than I had made before. But most of all, it was just fun. It was like I was genuinely excited about doing something that I'd never done before. Love creative stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely different interpretations of passion, but in this context, I think specifically meaning like a strong liking or desire for or devotion to some activity, object, or concept. Uh, for me personally, like a passion for a piece of artwork that I'm working on, or a new project, or more broadly, you could think of passion as just like this other definition of intense, driving, or overmastering feeling or conviction. Something that you're very focused in on, that you believe very strongly, could be interpreted that way. Yeah, I mean, I could understand that. I mean, it's been said long throughout history that passion is like it could be like a divine gift of some sort. Um, so I could totally see that. Yeah, I mean, this isn't something that necessarily has to have a static answer for any one person. I think it was just kind of a loose concept that Aubrey had brought up yesterday or Saturday, as like fucking muses. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like it's definitely different. I do like to think about what drives me. I think it's an interesting thing to kind of consider. I find beauty to be a very large source of passion. Hello. Yeah? Okay, well, I'm glad that you're passionate about that. Thanks, Duck. But yeah, just the concept of beauty itself, I find to be something that I'm very passionate about. I really enjoy thinking of things in that context of like, where's the beauty in this, whether it's like actively, traditionally beautiful or not. Like, yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, I'm not sure because it's definitely not Adderall. At least in the countries that I'm familiar with. Yep, that is right. Uh, so I'm going to start gathering stuff together here for show and tell for the scat zone. Feel free to share it in what you're working on, and I'll gather it together. Really think I have anything to show today? I'm just moving clothes around. It's not especially aesthetic. And I have a lot of stuff to try on, so it's kind of a mess. Hey, I'm glad that your massage went well. I saw what you posted. Sounds great. We are actually getting into the show and tell portion, so I'm going to start getting this together real quick. Alright, that was easy enough. We're going to go ahead and swap over to the scat zone. I turned down the just a little bit further. I listened back to a previous video and it still seemed like it was pretty loud, that it was covering me up. I'm going to do some compression work to have my voice kind of cut through it so that the music is automatically lowered when I talk, so that maybe I can have it just slightly bit louder. But for now, this is where we're at. So, first off, Hertz came in and shared that they've been working on dice bags and making it out of flannel. I thought these were really cute. I like what they're doing. You can see here, the dice are just spilling out of this sucker. Very cute. Yeah, I really like what they're doing. Little bag. Very cute. Next up, we have Ozzy is doing some work to do the picture with Alex and Rico. Make it a little bit more romantically leaning as the Alex Yeah, the owner of the Alex OC was hoping. Super cute. So we can see here the pictures are going to go through kind of like a progress of trying to thumbnail it out. Get the poses and proportions figured out a little bit earlier. Kind of like a back and forth, you know, like, I think it's interesting to see. Kind of like, okay, getting in there. Oh, gonna pull back a little bit. Very cute. And then this is the last one shared, kind of working through the clothing. Very cute. Baka. I actually didn't get the pun. Baggy, bag guy. Yeah. But yeah, that's actually it. My thing was not so much visual today. I'm just, I talked about earlier, I'm just organizing. Anyway, I was just organizing clothes today. So, doing some just utilitarian stuff. Before stream, I have been working on making idle animations for all the little characters for the avatar choices. So that's been going pretty well. We're getting some bag pie discourse here. Somewhat lost, but it's all good. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming through today. Bagpipe, yeah, I could see that. Kind of a flannel pattern. But yeah, so that's actually going to wrap it up. Thanks everybody for coming. I hope you had a good time. I hope you're having fun working on any projects that you're working on. I will just pop in here and say, super glad that you had a great massage. It was really nice to read that and just know that you're getting that level of release. That makes such a big impact. So, everybody take care. Feel free to share anything else that you're working on in the Discord. And hope you have a really good day. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to keep working on these idle animations. So hopefully we can get some boil going on these little suckers. Yeah, a massage for everyone. Just a train of massages. But yeah, everybody take care. Good day. I am a cat, and meow.